Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Rude Dudes podcast, and today is a spooky edition. I know that probably just scared the daylights out of Tyler. He does not play horror games, but Justin and I are known to. So this is going to be an episode revolved around horror games specifically. Um, and I am joined today, of course, with Tyler
Hello.
and Justin.
I don't know if I'm a horror fan per se in terms of video games.
Kind
And
of. I mean,
Just
you
I
like the
don't
Dead Space.
I don't
I
like
haven't finished Dead Space. Let's be clear.
and it's like I
You didn't
don't
finish Dead Space?
like horror games, but like I'm forced to play them, so I play them.
You're
That's fair.
forced. Who forces you to play them?
A lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyler's
Uh,
like one of those
peer
people
pressure.
when I think about like Dead by Daylight who like basically the community doesn't think the game is scary, but then I just think about Tyler running away from the clown when I was playing clown and just like literally his heart was pounding out of his chest. So, I guess like that argument is like it kind of it is a scary for new people, but
Yeah,
anywho.
and like even on my YouTube channel, like I have game or I think one game I got Pacify that I did
Okay.
I gotta do the next level, but like I don't want to.
Yeah, I get that. I can tell you that I've been on Twitter recently, and we'll talk about this because it's very exciting. There are people who are genuinely scared to continue in Silent Hill 2, the new
Oh, that's good.
re-released one. Yeah, so very exciting. And I have played it, so I will also give my thoughts during this podcast as well. Just a little bit of it, about an hour and a half. Um, but yeah, so I mean, like, this kind of proves too, like, clearly I'm the one that really loves horror games because I love, slasher movies and all that kind of stuff, horror movies. But with that being said, it kind of shows that like it's a very niche genre, right?
Mhm.
Do you guys know what kind of like made horror games kind of popular, or what people point to what made horror games popular?
Fear.
I would fear.
I think fear is what really like got it. That Alien Isolation, um,
I
like,
would say like the Resident Evils for sure.
yeah, the
Mhm.
Resident Evils. I think the
And
Resident Evils
Silent
were like
Hill.
the start of it.
Yeah. Resident Evil 4 was really what
Hmm.
kind of like pushed horror into the mainstream. Um,
And then Silent Hill,
but
like Justin said, yeah.
exactly, Silent Hill. But Resident Evil 1 and Silent Hill 1 were kind of the games that really were genre defining
Hmm.
for horror. But what started it all was really a little game called Clock Tower. Are you guys familiar with that game?
No.
Loosely.
So it was a Japanese only release. It has a really weird release cycle, and I think that we've talked about it on another podcast, or I might have. But they had a really weird release cycle where the first one never technically came out in America, and then it did end up coming out in America as the second one, but it was like a Final Fantasy moment where they called it the first one, even though it was a direct sequel on the original PlayStation. And then the second one that came out was like called something completely different in Japan, and it's really bad. The voice acting's really, really bad, and you swap personalities with a murderous psychopath, and I find it
Um,
hysterical because his name is Bates, and he's voice acted by somebody like pretty well known, if I'm not mistaken. And the voice lines, because you play as this like teenage girl, and the voice lines are hysterical. Like, there are enemies that you can literally stun as baits, and you just like kick, there's a little girl and you like kick her in the face.
We don't endorse kicking little girls in the face, but in the face of in a video game, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah,
yes. Only in video games.
Only in video
only in
games.
video games.
Only in a non-real environment.
Yeah, exactly. Only in an unreal environment, indeed. But she was a possessed little girl, and I feel like that's fair game even in real life.
Just not like tie her down, try to exercise her, just kick her right in the face.
No, that's not my problem. That's her problem. Bye. You got possessed. Not my issue.
But what are you doing in a house with her in the first place?
I don't know. I'm probably trapped there. I don't know. Maybe she's like an adjacent, like a family member, which honestly feels even more right to just kick her and leave. Leave her to the parents. Leave her to my relatives.
It's like you have like a
It's not my
really like spoiled cousin who just acts possessed whenever she doesn't get her way. And you're just like, ah.
ah! and then kick.
Oh man.
But yeah, so Clock Tower was kind of the first one that horror fans will kind of look to say like that started horror. Basically, the
Mhm.
original was a roller puzzle game where you were running. It was a stalker game, so you were running away from. Do you guys know what a stalker game is in like horror?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one. It's a game that the enemy follows you around.
Correct. Yeah. So you're basically running away. You can't do anything except like hide. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that was the first, like that was really the start of it all. And really actually fun news, I guess. Clock Tower, the original one that never released in the States, is actually being re-released onto modern day console. So that's
Oh,
going to be
That's
really
cool.
fun.
did we see
hmm
that?
Yeah, it
You
was in
know,
some
yeah.
Some
announcement
stream.
somewhere.
Yeah. I was
So
about to
that's
say, I
really
was like, I
cool.
vaguely remember it.
But
Or you said
yeah,
like the Nintendo Direct stuff. But yeah.
I think it was because it was in like their indie titles. I think you're right, Justin. It must have
Hmm.
been
Yeah.
because Nintendo really highlights a lot of their indie titles. Um, but I think that it's interesting kind of looking at horror in general and just seeing how, and Justin and you too, Tyler, you both might be a little bit more familiar, but to me it was like the downfall of single player games was really just the huge uptick in multiplayer. Like there was a really long period of time where people didn't really want single player games.
I think the fall
Mm,
of single player games came from live service games,
You think so? Okay.
specifically live service,
Wow.
because of
mm,
how all that folded out. Like multiplayer games, yes, but they went hand in hand with single player games. When live service started becoming a thing, like when like
Mhm.
Fortnite really, or like PUBG started becoming
Mm.
like a major thing, I think that's when like people stepped away and like focused on that, because that'd be the grind back then.
That's interesting because I vividly remember there was like a severe downtick in the quality one of single player games when I was in high school. So that was around like Halo 3, Xbox
Mm.
360 era, and Call of Duty when Call of Duty was like at its height.
mhm.
Um, so Justin, it looks like you want to say something about this. You're pretty passionate about this kind of stuff?
I wouldn't say that there was like a downhill of like single player games, but there was like definitely a rise of like more multiplayer games were getting made. Like you
Hmm.
would see games like uh Mag, which
Yeah.
is like a PS3 exclusive, was like a massive online game or action game where it was
hmm
just like 75 players in a s-
In the
pretty much
lobby.
a stage and just like yeah in the lobby. And like you see games like Mass Effect 3 getting their own like multiplayer game modes for whatever reason.
hmm
But yeah, I wouldn't say there was like a downhill of single player games. It's been like it's been steady, and with the releases of like live service games, you've seen more people like trying to get back into single player games because live service games has just been nothing but a cesspool of like money
Hmm.
grabbing.
hmm
I think as of recently, like single player game, like people are starting to get over live service.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like Suicide Squad, how that was supposed to be kind of like a live service game.
Marvel Avengers, shit show that
Marvel
that was.
Avengers. Oh God. And not to say that I get like a sick satisfaction on it of it, but like it's kind of like the wheel, like it's come full circle. Like horror
Yeah.
games. I think that I equate it with the downfall of single player games because horror games went on a downward spiral, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit um to kind of tell you guys because I'm sure that you're aware of some of them. But Tyler, you look like you're itching to say something.
I just want to say this: Outlast Trials.
Oh, yes, Outlast
Mm.
Trials.
That's
I
a
don't know
good
if that
one.
game's
That's a
doing
sign of
well.
it. I don't know if it's doing well, but it's fun.
Oh,
Like
good.
I've
Mm.
watched a buddy of mine play
I've
it.
heard I've heard some good things about that game.
Yeah. It's an interesting age that we're living in with so many. We have so many like asymmetrical horror games. Like we have Dead by Daylight, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
We currently have Friday the 13th, which is going to be shut down at some point.
I
there
thought they
Um,
was
shut
also
down.
Predator Hunting Grounds.
I thought they shut
it's
down
not
Friday the 13th.
they might have
You can still
already, but
play private lobbies, but I know like matchmaking
yes.
and
Yes, you
stuff.
can still play private lobbies, I'm pretty sure. And I think there's a Discord server that's dedicated for people to still play the game.
Hmm.
Which do you guys know what happened with that? Are you like familiar at
It was
all?
licensing, I think.
It was licensing, yeah. And it's just like it makes me want to do a big fuck you because it was like between the original creator of Jason and like somebody else, and I can't remember who it was, but he argued that he was actually the original creator of Jason, not the person who created the Friday the 13th movies. It was very messy and just very bad and like it ruined a game. I hate when I see like a multiplayer game with like a pretty dedicated community just get ruined
Mhm.
over something stupid. And that to me was something stupid. And Gun has shifted their focus to work. Oh no, actually, I don't think Gun shifted their focus to work on Texas Chainsaw Massacre at that point, and Gun doesn't even own Texas Chainsaw Massacre anymore because it went on a downward spiral because Gun wasn't releasing enough material in a quick enough time frame. So
Hmm.
they're kind of in a rough spot, but there's a lot to choose from, like Outlast Trials, Dead by Daylight, Texas Chainsaw. There's more that I'm forgetting, but there's like Dive where you play as like scuba divers and there's sharks.
Oh yeah, I seen that one.
Mhm. Yeah,
I mean,
so it's kind of cool that like we're in a spot where even now single player horror games are getting back to like once where they once were.
And
and
also,
like
I just want to quickly shout out the indie developers that have been coming out with these banger, like very
yeah,
viral horror games.
Yes,
Keep it going, like for real.
seriously.
yeah. I was gonna mention that like you just look on Steam, there's just like a giant cesspool of just like horror games
Hmm.
It
being
makes me
made.
so incredibly happy.
By the way, if you guys want to see on stream, I'm totally down to play Outlast Trials. If you
I'm
guys
down for that too. I've never played.
if you guys want to see it, comment down below. We'll stream it. I mean, we're gonna stream it regardless, but like, it'd be nice to see you guys comment. um, but
We gotta
yeah,
get a viewership first, Tyler.
but yeah. Who says that? Please
Yeah,
subscribe.
we kind of
Please
need a
like and
yeah.
subscribe and comment your favorite part down below. I love you.
Please God,
We need
please God,
this.
we're just trying to keep the lights on.
We want to
Just
quit our
kidding.
jobs.
Um, so like it's kind of interesting because looking back on like there was like this lull period of horror where it was like really weird, where we were getting really weird releases. We were getting really weird games that are now kind of looked back upon and they're like, oh my God, that's not as bad as I originally thought it was. Ironically enough, there was a Clock Tower 3 that came out in America. Again, it was produced by Capcom, or it published by Capcom, excuse me. And this one is actually hysterical because the green screen guys that like did everything for the cutscenes, it's so theatrical that it's
Hmm.
almost funny. And I implore anybody that's interested to just go watch it because it's hysterical. And you're basically running away from serial killers, and then you kill them with like a light bow and arrow at the end of every time that like after every level that you like complete. That's how you do the boss fights. It's bizarre. I own it. I'm obsessed. I think it's hysterical. But like at the time people were like this game is trash. um So we had games like that. We had games like Rule of Rose, which now have really gotten its flowers. Like people really love Rule of Rose, myself included.
Did you finish that
Yes,
game?
I did. I finished it on stream actually with Justin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a really
I remember you guys playing that. That's what got us the whole
it
start of
did.
all this. Actually,
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting just seeing that and then also just seeing like how, and I don't think that this has any correlation, but like horror games are some of the most expensive games that you can buy for game collecting. Like Rule of Rose goes from anywhere between $500 to $1,000, which it's not worth that because it's broken and really unfinished. But we had these games like that and like gosh, I can't remember the other, A Haunting Ground.
Yeah.
Um, that came out right after or right around the time of Resident Evil 4, and it was a stalker fixed camera tank control horror game. And that one really got its flowers. People really love that game. The only thing that it gets super criticized about is that it has like a really weird story. It revolves around like you playing as this like beautiful female character, main character, and like the main enemy wants to impregnate you. So, yeah.
isn't
Sounds
that
about
this?
right.
The no, never mind. I I had a thought. I was like, isn't that pretty much the whole basis of Metroid Prime?
Pretty much. No, I don't think so.
No, it's not.
I don't
Not
know
at all. That's
actually.
why I said never mind.
Yeah, I'm like, Nintendo, sue him.
Mother brain. But my brain went to. Do you guys ever
Your mother
watch?
brain?
You guys ever watch the YouTube series Sonic for Hire?
Yes.
It
No.
reminded me of that, like of Mother Brain
Yeah.
and that. And
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
it just you said that, and that's I instantly thought in that entire series. Blew my mind. Blew my mind.
But anywho, so going into the lull period where this is like really interesting because it's one of those things where it's like we had Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 come out. People really love those games. People really stand by those, really kind of vouch for them. Silent Hill 4 came out. That one was on PlayStation 2, original Xbox, and that one like it was weird because it wasn't supposed to be a Silent Hill game, but then like you progress more in the game, it's like you start off in a first person view in an apartment, and once you get out of the apartment, you realize that you're actually in an apartment in Silent Hill. So that's how it becomes like a Silent Hill game. And Konami just didn't think it was going to make money prior to that, so they turned it into a Silent Hill game. People hated it originally, now people love it. It's like really, really weird, but that was kind of like for
Isn't
Silent Hill, that was the start of the decline.
is that
Yes.
PT?
No, that's not PT. PT like definitely took from that because PT was 100% first person.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So speaking of PT, let's just kind of talk about the lull period really quick. So they had really bad releases. Yes, Tyler.
No, I'm just a quick comment about PT. I'm actually
Yeah.
putting my girlfriend through it this weekend.
Oh, good.
I have it on my
Oh.
PS5.
Do you? I
I
have it on
do.
mine
Have it-
too.
Wait, how do you have it in your PS5s?
Because I got the demo of it on the PS4,
Mm-hmm. Same.
and so it
So you can
stayed
just
on
straight
there.
up download on your PS5?
Yeah, you can
Yep.
download it
Wow.
still. Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
I'm gonna put.
wow. I
I'm
thought they
gonna.
got rid of that.
I'm gonna put my girlfriend through that. See, if she's a true horror fan.
She is, but it's going to be really difficult for her to figure out how to get to the end.
That's
'cause it's
fine. She
Yeah.
can. It's about
complex.
the
Yeah.
journey with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was like a really weird period where unfortunately heavy hitters like Resident Evil and Silent Hill came into a lull period. So we're
Mhm.
starting with Resident Evil 5, which people look back upon and they actually like it, right? But the really hardcore fans basically say that like Resident Evil 4 was kind of the first decline of the Resident Evil series because they felt like it wasn't scary anymore and it was more actiony. And Resident Evil 5 kind of took that into overdrive. And now we had co-op mode. There was like a heavy emphasis on, of course, doing co-op stuff, which is less scary. And
That's the one with Chris and
Shiva.
Shiva. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, if you played by yourself, Shiva's AI was garbage.
Hmm.
Um, so it made it, like, less scary and immersive and stuff like that. It was just kind of like a nuisance. Did either of you play 5?
I did.
Okay.
If
I feel like
I played with a friend, so like going through all that shit with
yeah.
Shiva, like I know about it, but like
Okay.
I'm so fortunate I went through it with a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I played 5. I don't remember if I played it with you, Matt, or maybe one of my stepbrothers.
Maybe your stepbrothers because we played 6 together.
Yeah. I know we definitely played 6 together. Just couldn't remember about 5.
Yeah. So 5, yeah, to me it was fine. I don't remember much about it except Chris punching boulders with his watermelon-sized biceps. Um,
I just
and
remember Jill having that little thing on her
yeah,
Hmm.
chest.
her little thing, and she was acting feral and like on all
Yeah.
fours, like, I'm gonna get you,
And she was
Chris. I was like,
Did,
girl,
yeah.
please.
did you guys see the mod? It was a TikTok, but someone made a mod. Is like, do you have mods installed? This looks a little different. And he's like, no, as it pans over to Master Chief.
Oh yeah.
I have seen that one. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
I've
That
seen
shit
that
My
makes me
one.
die
favorites are
every single
the
time.
my favorites are the ones that it's like Ashley like super overweight and in Resident Evil 4 and Leon like shirtless. Those literally kill me every single time that I see them. Um but so Resident Evil started going into a lull with that period, and like I said, so the fan criticism behind it, like I said, it was just pretty much that co-op less scary. Then we get to Resident Evil 6, which was just a major failure, even though it did
Yeah.
well, I think. Um
Which one was 6? I never played it.
6 was bad.
I
Six was
honestly, I haven't played any
6
Resident
was
Evil
bad.
past 5.
Okay. So 6 was basically it was they tried to return to form by bringing back like fan favorite characters like Chris and Leon. Um
Mhm.
They also added in, like it was like Wesker's son and
Yeah,
some
Wesker's
random
son.
chick that's, like, tied to Claire, I think?
No, wasn't one of them like from Code Veronica?
Maybe. Was it Claire that was his partner, or was it Rebecca?
I think
I
it was
don't
Rebecca.
remember.
Yeah, I think it might have been Rebecca.
Okay. I don't remember, and I think that canonically Rebecca's dead, so I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But basically, you could choose through those 3 stories. If you beat it as every single character, because it was Chris and Subordinate. I don't even remember the dude's name, but it was, like, somebody with Chris.
Mhm.
Then there was Helen and Leon, or Helena and Leon. Um, then Wesker's son and girl. I
Same
don't
person.
remember her name. Um, Wesker's son could punch the zombies. It made it extremely easy, extremely not scary. Chris's campaign was pretty good. It was pretty action-y and scare-y-ish, but Leon's, I don't remember being anything crazy. They brought back Nemesis for some reason, and I call this the Silent Hill effect, where there was like there's documentation in Konami that they were too scared to. We'll talk about that actually. I'm just gonna finish this, but I call it the Pinhead effect. So, or the Pyramid Head effect, excuse me. Um, and they brought Nemesis back. Didn't make any sense because Jill wasn't even in the game. Anywho, um, quick time events, actiony scenes, all that kind of crazy stuff. It really just felt like
Yeah.
a blockbuster. And this was during that time where they were like, games need to be cinema. And uh, Resident Evil 6 is like the clear indication that, like, no, games
You
don't need to be
need
cinema.
you can make it cinema as long as there's
Right.
good gameplay.
Exactly. Um, and the Resident Evil series ended up taking a really long break after that, but
Mhm.
shifting over to Silent Hill, again, lackluster sequel after lackluster sequel. From what I could gather online, people basically said that for Homecoming, it was pretty much that the game just wasn't scary. Like the game felt boring, like you could see pretty clearly, like, and there wasn't a lot of depth to the game. The combat was easy, so that was like one thing that made Silent Hill scary was the combat was difficult. Like you didn't
Yeah.
want to get into combat situations because it felt like you in a like stressful situation where you're kind of limited in what you could do, but you could do like combo hits in the later Silent Hill games. Um like Downpour came out after that, like which is another major release, and that had major bugs and glitches, so it left a bad taste in people's mouths, even though it was okay. Um, but kind of, did you guys ever play any Silent Hill games?
Nope.
No.
So Konami fell into this trap, and this is why I was saying Nemesis was the Pyramid Head effect. Konami was very convinced. There were people at the top of Konami that were very convinced that if they ever came out with a Silent Hill game, it had to have Pyramid Head in it. Did you know Silent Hill is specific to the user going into it?
Yeah. I know, like
Wait,
it,
what?
like yeah,
Correct. Yep.
yeah.
So,
Silent, yeah. You're like Silent Hill creates its monsters based off the person that is entering the town or the area,
mhm.
Oh,
essentially.
so not like you. I thought this was like based. I was like, what kind of AI technology is this?
No. Just like when you play a Silent Hill game, like for an example,
It's
the one that
the
they released
MC.
for free. You should actually download this for your girlfriend to play this weekend. There is a free Silent Hill game, and it like so where I'm going with that is in this free Silent Hill game, she sees a like cherry blossom monster, whereas when like the original guy from Silent Hill 1 went in, I think he saw like a lot of like because he was like trying to find his kid, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure,
Hmm.
so he saw like a lot of childlike figures. um and when James went in, my boy James in Silent Hill 2, he saw nurses and Pyramid Head because he was looking for his dead wife and he was sexually frustrated. So
Understandable.
yeah. So Silent Hill 2 is where you get Pyramid Head. It's supposed to like represent his sexual desires or like his frustration or something. And then the nurses, which are like dressed very sexy, even though they're scary. But that's where you also get the nurses from too. They put these monsters in like every game after that because they were like, that's what made it good. And we're like,
Hmm.
no, girl.
No, the writing is what made it good.
Right, exactly. Like the shock and appall that you're like, "Oh my god, these creatures were made because James is horny." Okay.
You're like, sure, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're probably thinking, "Oh, these monsters are iconic. Let's put them in every single fucking game."
exactly. So that was like a big problem with 5, if I'm not mistaken, which was Silent Hill Homecoming.
Hmm.
Homecoming has some hysterical endings though. There's a dog ending, there's a UFO ending. You should look up the endings
Oh, I
sometime.
think
They're so
the
funny.
I've
Doge
seen the dog
one.
ending.
The Douge one, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that
Um
one. Is he's just saying in the doorway like, what?
Yeah, it's they're hysterical and it's not scary. And that's what I'm trying to get the point across is that like we kind of veered away from the horror of the game and each game franchise kind of lost sight of what it truly was,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
like you mentioned, like Resident Evil, like becoming more action packed, and even Silent Hill becoming more action packed. Another game
Mhm.
that's exactly like that is Dead Space,
Hmm.
where
Yes.
when Dead Space first came out, it was highly revered as like a great like survival horror game, for its atmosphere is unique, like monsters, the way that like the UI is, well, that the fact that there was no UI,
Yeah,
Hmm.
but and then they just EA was being EA at the time during the EA times, and turned that into like an action packed game
yeah.
and
Hmm.
not a horror game.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Mm,
So Capcom copyrighted, or sorry, not copyrighted, trademarked the Nemesis system, right?
Correct.
no,
Where the fuck
No.
is no? I thought they
the
did.
Nemesis system.
The RE system.
Yeah, RE system. I thought it was called the Nemesis system.
No, Nemesis system is the Warner Bros. Thing from Lord of the Rings, Shadow,
Oh,
whatever
right.
series.
Yeah, the
Right.
Shadow of Mordor. God, I was just
Yeah.
Never
ugh.
mind. That's a different topic. I'm
I mean, we were
sorry.
talking we were
But
we were talking about that like a couple
Yeah.
episodes
actually,
ago.
Justin, since we're on this topic, can you drop the knowledge that you told me, which shook me to my core, that what RE Engine actually stands for?
Oh, uh, yeah. So the RE engine doesn't stand for what you would think is the Resident Evil engine. It actually stands for Reach for the Moon engine.
What the
Yep.
fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was so people always just equated it to it because I think they used it first in
For
whatever came first, either
it
7
was by
or
7.
okay, it was 7. So yeah, Resident
Mhm.
Evil 7, which now is the exciting time where I get to give my flowers to some of my favorite franchises for coming back and being stronger than ever. I do want to give a quick shout out to Evil Within and Fear. Fear,
Mhm.
unfortunately, fell victim to what you said, Justin, where it was like Dead Space 1, great, but then it kind of lost sight about what it was by Dead Space 3. And Dead Space 3 was a mess, girl. Um, and Fear kind of falls in that same boat. Fear 3 was weird. Fear 3 was
I
incredibly
agree.
weird. Fear 2 was so good.
Fear 2 is the best.
Fear 2 was one of
Oh,
my favorite games.
hold on. Which Fear game is the one where you impregnate Alma?
I think that's 3.
God,
Yeah,
God,
that's they
that.
lost sight, Justin, like I said
Uh,
before.
Justin's
how
dream.
the Thanks, Tyler.
Sorry.
Yep, that sure is my dream right there, just impregnating Ghost.
I don't know if I out shouted it out
Low
yet, but
key.
wanna
I'm kidding.
what, impregnating a ghost? That can
She's a
be your
Impregnating
ghost
horror
and a
game.
bitch.
it's a power move.
It's a power
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember playing 2 and being like, "Does she wanna fuck?" Like,
move.
they just took that and ran with it for 3. Uh, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but Evil Within, I think that was a little before its time. It was a really fun game. It has its criticisms, and I'm definitely here to say, yeah, like it's not perfect, but it was fun.
Mhm.
Um, but good news, my friends, Alien Isolation, even though that one kind of had a lackluster release, just got announced for a sequel,
I saw
which
that.
was so
Mhm.
exciting.
I
And
saw
I
that.
have to and I have to give flowers to specifically Outlast because I think that Outlast for me is what kind of reinvigorated my love for horror games. Outlast 1 was
Mhm.
so good. It was so much fun. It was so scary. I haven't played 2.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, Outlast has, like, kept the genre alive in terms of, like, classic horror games. Because there's
Mhm.
also been, like, other horror games, like Five Nights at Freddy's that's just, like, kinda, like, kept that interest of, like, horror games in general, like, balanced somewhat, like, at least from, like, actually dying off
Right.
as a genre.
They definitely have. And so Outlast definitely to me was kind of the start of horror kind of coming back to form, right?
Mhm.
But we have to mention a little game called Resident Evil 7.
Mhm.
Resident Evil 7 not only saved Capcom, but it saved horror games. Like, it brought horror back. Resident Evil 7 was so scary that Resident Evil fans were like, "Guys, we need to tone it down for the
Mhm.
next one." And Resident Evil 8 definitely is, like, a really good marriage of, like, really scary and also more like, not super scary, more actiony, in my opinion.
Raccoon City. I'm kidding.
We don't speak of her.
I'm
Oh
kidding.
my god.
We do not speak of her. That almost killed Capcom. Like, truly.
That's when they were
Um,
like trying to really sell it on the action.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
God,
Sorry. I just wanted to
those
No,
say
were
that's
that.
the
okay.
days.
Those were really the days. And I will say that, like, I've kind of dropped my beef with Konami now because my major beef was that PT came out and also really kind of reinvigorated people's love for Silent Hill, got people excited about it again, only for Kojima to leave Konami and them to drop the entire project of Silent Hills,
Mhm.
which was really disappointing. Norman Reedus was going to be the main character. Oh, fun things that I mentioned to you guys about this. There have been articles that have come out that said if Silent Hills was to come out, we talked about this in our AI video, but it's or our AI podcast,
I
but
know what you're talking
talking
about.
about it again. It's crazy to think that they were going to hook it up to Hue lights to mess with your
Oh
lights. They
yeah.
were going to send you text messages. They were going to like basically tell you that you haven't played the game in a while. Like they were really gonna they were super ambitious with that game, and it makes me sad that it never came out. But
Yeah, that's such a Kojima thing to do though.
I
Like
know, and very Guillermo del Tormo, is that how you say his name?
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, him. And I think that they were
And
also consulting Junji Ito as well for
yeah,
that game.
God, they were
I
gonna have the
know,
fucking goat.
I
The
know.
fucking
That
goat.
that game was going to be a goddamn masterpiece. But I'm very happy to announce that, as of this date, Silent Hill 2 is out. I've played it. It's scary. It's fun. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Um, Combat is not easy. That's what I was really worried
Mhm.
about. They did an amazing job of like using sounds and less music to make you scared. I have surround sound, so it was really tweaking with me. Um, yeah, we're just kind of returning to form, and it makes me so excited with all the Resident Evil re-releases. Dino Crisis being added to PSN. I just hope that like Fear kind of gets its flowers. I'd love to see like a Fear re-release of the first game. I know that it's on Steam and stuff, so there's really no point because it's playable. But I'd love to see that. Love to see Rule of Rose get its flowers and come back out haunting around, get a, port. But that's dreaming big. But right now we can say we're eating good with the Resident Evil franchise and Silent Hill.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna give horror games a chance. I don't like to be scared. I really
Oh
don't.
yeah, neither do I. I really
But
don't either.
for the sake of a good story and for the sake of my girlfriend Matt and Justin to laugh at me, I'll do it.
I recommend Silent Hill 2 because you can get it on CD keys for like $40 right now, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like on Omega sale for PC. And I just want it to do well. I want Konami. They already announced that there's a new Silent Hill in the works, so I want it to do well. So anybody who's interested in it, go purchase yourself Silent Hill
Yeah,
2. Justin, are
I'm
you gonna
very
play it?
excited. I will eventually, sometime after I beat Metaphor ReFantazio, but
Okay,
that's like an
so next
80
year.
to 100. Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
But I'm also excited for like the Silent Hill game that's being made by the creator of When They Cry, the visual novel.
Yes.
So that one is exciting.
Oh,
Yeah,
snap.
for that
Wait,
one.
it's made by the When They Cry people? That just clicked.
Yeah, the visual novel, the creator is working on that game. Working
No
on that Silent
way,
Hill.
dude. Oh, that just made me so excited. So for people who don't know, When They Cry is one of my favorite like anime shows. Great game too.
Well, I'm gonna fact check myself
Yeah, let's
before
fact
I.
check yourself before we look stupid.
Okay, yeah, it is written by Ryukishi07.
Okay.
When the Cry is written by that person, and so yeah, they are working on Silent Hill F.
Yes, which looks phenomenal. I
Mhm.
need to know more though, developers. Konami, release a new trailer, please. It's almost Halloween. It's perfect timing.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, and we have to give flowers to that indie game coming out soon, the PlayStation 1 horror game look-alike that's like tank controlled.
Oh
That
Fear,
looks
yeah.
Fear
super
the
cool.
Spotlight.
Fear the Spotlight.
Mm,
I'm super excited for that. And again, horror's back, baby. Truly.
yeah.
It's time to get into it.
Also,
Tee.
gotta give my shout out to Signalis,
Yes.
like a PS1 looking survival horror game that's like Resident Evil esque.
You would love that game, Tyler.
I love that game.
I'll look
It's so
into it.
good. It's mhm.
You would
Um,
like it.
It's less
I
scary,
just
more survival horror is kind of scary.
I have to give a shout out to really the only game I had to do research for that was horror game, Pacify. I said it in the beginning.
Yes.
Pacify is a phenomenal game if you haven't played it. Trying to figure out all the puzzles and all the ways of doing it while having a monster stalk you is
Mm.
insane. It
Yeah.
will it's scary, then you focus, but it still maintains that level of scary. So if you guys haven't played it yet, go play it on Steam. I believe it's only on Steam right now. There's like 6 levels to it. Go do that. On that note,
I would get the final shout out. I would be eaten alive in the comments if I didn't mention this Amnesia as well. Amnesia really did keep the horror genre
Yeah,
alive
Amnesia.
for a hot minute while there was like nothing good coming out in horror. It was like the game.
I've heard of
Amnesia
it.
was that bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not so much anymore, but it was back in the day, like 2013.
When fucking PewDiePie was playing that shit,
PewDiePie.
you know.
Don't sue me.
On that note, though, do we got anything else then?
No, just go buy Silent Hill 2, please. Thank you.
Guys might be seeing me stream that soon. But on that note, make sure to like, subscribe, comment your favorite part down below. And this has been the JMT Podcast horror episode. Not horror.
Okay.
So make that clear. But
Spooky.
again, make sure to like, subscribe, comment your favorite part down below, follow us on social media. And yeah, I hope you have a good night or a good day or a good afternoon or a good work day. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Bye.
Oh shit, we forgot to talk about Slender Man.